Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kyusho here, and now, before we do start, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a few things happen. We had Deku, and we also had his family. Now, in the last part, Deku, he was trying to figure out a few things. At first, it was how to try and stop Regent, but then Deku, he thought about it, and he realized it. Many heroes have already been taken down. He's still alive, but Regent is going through and searching for heroes. He's collecting them, taking them down, killing the ones who don't surrender, and harnessing their powers. In his encounter, he almost died. And Deku, he was in a coma for a month and his body was left broken. He only had one thing left to think about: his family. He was not going to die and leave his kids without a father. He was afraid, he was scared, and he tried to find ideas to. Well, he had tried to think of ideas as how to beat Regent. Then it was how to hide from Regent. And then Deku, he stopped. No more Spider-Man. Him and Cindy, they started to live their lives. And their marriage got better, his business was successful, and now things are different. He has more time to spend with his children. He's gotten better. I mean, he took a year off of being Spider-Man one time in the past, but now Spider-Man's been dead for several years. I mean, the world definitely has changed. Now, Deku, right now he currently just sit there. He does have a few things going through his mind. Black Cat came to see him, and she tried to talk to Deku about possibly the Jackal making a drug that can give people spider abilities again. People, they loved their abilities during Spider Island, and many of them, they do somewhat wish to have it back. And the Jackal, he had a bit of ideas. Ways to go against Regent. Ways to take him down. And this drug, it was definitely something special. But Deku doesn't know any of that. He doesn't know the Jackal's plan. As far as he knows, the Jackal is trying to draw out Spider-Man. See if he's still alive. See if he's still around. And the Jackal, he did quite a lot here. The drug isn't a good drug. It might give you powers, but there are drawbacks Deku saw in the ingredients. Drawbacks he saw in the math and the chemistry. You'll die if you take this drug, and that's guaranteed. After it gets out of your system, your body will feel worn out. You'll feel hungry, you'll feel tired, you'll feel fatigued. You'll feel your body try to make up for a calorie deficit it can't. Because your body, your muscles will immediately go from being strong as steel to weak as human. Even less so. Your body goes into overdrive to give you those abilities. But then, without the powers, your body is still trying to run at that efficiency of a level. It's like this. Imagine a car, or actually, let's just say a gun. You're trying to put a 50 caliber round in a 12 gauge. Imagine how that would end for a second. It won't end pretty. The gun will be destroyed. The bullet will still fire, but a lot of bad things can happen after that. The gun will explode and the body will be destroyed. And Deku left this alone. And the Jackal, he tried to go against Regent. And he was actually a bit more annoyed. He had the idea in the back of his mind that Spider-Man might have intervened. He might pop up and try to stop him. But that never happened. And Deku, he went about his day. He went about his life. Spider-Man died years ago. And he knows that. But he still tinkers around. He still builds things just to pass some time sometimes and just take his mind off of things. He's made improvements. drastic improvements upon many things. His tech is leagues ahead now. And Deku, he has even thought about trying to find Mr. Chisaki, the man who has been the lizard for over a decade. If Deku can fix him, maybe he can at least bury a part of his past, a part that he still feels responsible for. And that right now is Deku's secret objective. He works on that in his spare time. And it has been years since Deku he heard about the jackal being murdered by Regent. Now, he does currently sit there in the garage, and he is tinkering around with a few things. It's been years, and the world is still going on. But the idea of a resistance, him holding up the vial, the idea of people to go against him, oppose him, it's not a bad idea. But how? How is the main thing? Maybe. No, he doesn't know if that would work. It exists in this universe, but if he tries to call it to Earth, what would it do? That's a bad idea. It'd have to be a universal threat, right? And the fact that Regent hasn't encountered it yet or heard of it, or no, he probably doesn't know it exists. The power cosmic. Captain Universe. The abilities of that being could help him immensely, but would he be able to win with them? I mean, he's seen gods fall to that man. And now he's not sure. He's just afraid, scared. That's definitely one word. Deku hearing a knock on his door. And right now, he does actually so I'm going to set down the vials, turn, walk over, and press a button. As the garage is going to change again. It returning back to normal, as Deku, he does then going to walk out of the room. Him heading over to the front door, and going to actually answer it. Hello? Yes, are you Izuku Midoriya? I am, yes, but how did you get on my property? That is classified. Now, may we come in? What exactly is this about? The man looking around, before he actually don't going to lean forwards, expressing, they are with S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sorry, I've got no idea why you're here. If this is about my efforts in my working life, then we can talk about that then. But please leave. If this is something about Regent and him wanting to look at my tech, I've already told him. I'm very private about that. And I'm not willing to cooperate. No, this isn't that. We've heard about how Regent's looking into your tech, but we're not with S.H.I.E.L.D. We're with S.H.I.E.L.D. I see. Step inside. Deku going to step out of the way. The man walking in, and a woman is going to walk in behind him. And Deku does something to look at her, a bit more curiously. She looks familiar. Then I'm going to step inside and sit down. Deku going to walk over and sit down himself. Him staring at the both of them. Ask them exactly what they're here for today. He's been a little bit busy and he's working in his lab. You have a lab? Yes, at home, my private lab. If you would please, make this quick. I do have a few things processing at the moment, and they are sensitive with material and time. I see. We'll make things quite clear. The woman does get to stand up. Her right now going to reveal herself as Firestar. Her changing into her outfit, and then going to quickly change back. And Deku is a bit more surprised by that. He didn't... What was that? Nanotech? Magic? I see. Why exactly did you bring a superhero to my house? Mr. Midoriya, we're gonna make things quite clear. Shield operatives, they made things simple. They said in the event of their turnover to Regent, you might be able to help. I'm sorry, I don't know anyone with Shield. Firestar gonna actually turn, expressing to him. She knows that he's Spider-Man. She remembers his voice. Excuse me? Spider-Man died years ago. No, he didn't. He got out. I know for a fact he's alive. He's resilient. The Avengers might have fallen that day, but Spider-Man is still alive. I know it. The operative knew it, and they trusted you. Your voice sounds just like him. You've met Spider-Man before? Me and him were not acquaintances, but we've met once. It was during the Skrull invasion years ago. I switched partners with him, I guess. He took on a Skrull that I was facing, and I took on a Skrull he was facing. I do remember that. Deku looking down, and Firestar immediately knows Deku is Spider-Man. She flat out says it out loud. She understands he might be afraid of Regent, but S.H.I.E.L.D., they are getting back together. They're rebuilding. They have information that can help take him down. And besides, fact of the matter is, S.H.I.E.L.D. has been pinned. They are in a very delicate spot. What's happening is simple. They're going to all be taken down, unless they can figure this out. Unless they can deal with the Kingpin, unless they can deal with Regent, unless they can deal with his freaking lieutenants. Everyone. Every villain in New York City is practically under his payroll, under his rule. He's got a piece of the action everywhere. And that's a problem. And Deku still sit there. Him actually going to stand. Lorraine doesn't hear something happen. Him going to turn and walk over to the door. Him expressing to both of the two to please leave his residence. And the two, they do understand. Them going to walk out the door as there actually was Firestar. She handed Deku a note and it had a phone number and contact information. And even an address written on it. And Deku, he saw this note and put it in his pocket. He thought it was strange, but he went back to his lab. Right now, I'm going to sit down and try to experiment with a few more things. As right now, Deku, he does go to turn his head to look at the monitor. Him seeing the picture or the image on screen. And right now, his son does get to lay there in his crib. Him still sound asleep. And Deku, he does look at a smile staring at the monitor. Him going to look back down and think. He needs to allow this time to mix, create a strong reaction. Okay, that could take hours, but okay, let's see the progress on the other project. I'm going to turn, and right now reach his hand up for a vial. Him grabbing onto it, and going to read what it does say. As Deku, he does look at an enhancement formula. This might be able to give him stronger powers, make him more powerful. It's definitely a possibility. He knows that the way his powers works are based on radiation, so if he exposes himself to more, is it possible for him to grow stronger or enhance himself? I mean, there's a super soldier formula, and they saw what happened. They saw what happened to Steve Rogers. I mean, he went from someone you wouldn't think could do quite a lot to being Captain freaking America. And Deku, he is somewhat concerned. The formula has shown to be reactive in strange ways to DNA. He's tested against himself, and he's even tested against some blood samples he's taken from his own kids. But that's the problem. He's worried. If Regent ever finds any of them, God forbid they grow older and they don't realize they have powers. They just act reckless. He wants them to be able to take care of themselves. I mean, make them stronger and one day they might face Regent. But he doesn't want that. Maybe facing Regent head on is the perfect option. Helping shield. It's definitely not a good idea. But it could work, right? A possibility? Okay. Okay. Just stay calm. Okay, just mess around with the formula a little bit more and then check it out. See if it can produce a strong enough reaction. Strong enough. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna set it back down. Right now he'll tinker with that later. But he does have a few things on his mind. The formula can produce powerful reactions. It showed that it rejuvenated his cells 2-3 times better. His healing factor improved. And that does say quite a lot. White blood cell count was up and, well, that's only the stuff he knows right now. He's willing to test a sample of it, but if it changes him, yeah, he doesn't want to know what will happen. If he tries to delve into spider biology again, he might make it worse, a stronger reaction. He already has to wear contacts and he has blades in his arm. So there's that. Those are new abilities. His spider sense is a bit stronger and he got a little bit more powerful. But does he need to start training again? I mean, he still has to keep up with his martial arts to keep his mind clear, but maybe okay. Maybe being back in the saddle is a good idea. Getting back out there, but if he pops up, Regent will search for him, and his family will be in danger. Okay. He'll just keep tinkering. Yeah, he'll just do that. Deku gonna leave his lab. After, he messed around with a few things a bit more, before his son Eric started to cry. And Deku, he does go about his day. And we do actually have a few months later. Shield, they have been suffering without Deku helping them. And Deku, his life is thriving. His life is good. But today there's a bit of a problem. While Deku, he is giving a bit of a presentation, after he walks off stage, he hears about a few things happening. And his phone is blown up with messages. Deku, he is being told by Ochako about what's going on. At a public school, there has been sightings of powerful people. People who have abilities. And she even gives Deku the name of the school. And Deku is a bit more alarmed. He flat out turns to leave. And Ochako, she already talks about how she called Cindy. It's the same school that Deku's kids all go to. And right now Deku, he doesn't have time. No costume, no anything. And he heads out. Right now Spiderman is seen. He's wearing a black suit. And he has a paper bag stuck to his mask. People see him. He has black dress pants on and a tie. He also has a white shirt on. And he's running around on top of buildings. He's running around on top of cars. He's shooting spider webs. It's quite apparent. People turn their heads and see it. It's the webhead. It's Spider-Man. He's alive. How is that possible? And Deku, he finally does get a land. Him right now on a wall as he is going to leap down. Him right now going to smash down and see a few people. As the Prowler, along with Rhino and Vulture, they're there. And Deku, he has to turn and look around. Him seeing his daughter, Inko. And right now she doesn't want to sit there. Her frozen and afraid. As the Power Pack, they're trying to face off against the villains. and trying to fight. And now Deku does a turn and look. Him shouting at some of the kids for them all to run. And there actually is Rhino. Rhino's gonna turn and look directly at Spider-Man. Him a bit more alarmed, for Deku brought his hand up and fired a web directly at him. Him bringing his hand up and catching it out of the air. Him yelling about how the webhead should have been dead. And Deku is going to make a sarcastic remark. And Rhino, he's someone does going to smile, but he also is going to grit his teeth. It was a bit fun. Nice to hear that again, but it also pisses him off. Something fierce. And he does going to rush forwards. But Deku, he does just going to stand there. And the Rhino, where he is going to rush forwards, Deku is going to throw out his hand. Him smashing a spike upwards into the Rhino's body. Him piercing directly through his armor and smashing into his shoulder. Before he is actually going to throw up his hand, smashing the Rhino in the gut, sending him flying through the air and out of the schoolyard. As Rhino Inco is going to stand there. As there actually was Ben, Deku's son, one of Adriana's kids. He came running up, and he immediately bent down and grabbed his sister, both the two staring at their dad. As Deku right now does a dodge out of the way of some of the attacks, him going to turn towards the Prowler. And the Prowler is talking about it. As Deku, he is going to rush forward towards her. Her actually trying to throw out her hands to use the tech. Him grabbing towards her wrist and actually bringing his hand up, snapping her arm. As right now Deku, he is going to grab her by her throat. Him going to smash her into the ground and bury her. Him turning towards the last villain. And right now Spider-Man is going to quietly walk towards them. And the Vulture right now, he is about to shit a brick. Spider-Man is quiet. He took out the Rhino, and that chick was taken down in less than a second. And the Vulture, he is going to bring his hands up to surrender. But Deku, he is going to turn looking at his kids, telling both of the two to get the hell out of here now, and to run. And right now the Vulture is going to turn, him staring at the children. Both the two going to nod as they look at each other. Ben pulling his sister to her feet as the two go running off. And right now the Vulture is going to stare at that. Him turning back as he thinks he understands what's going on. And Deku, he stares at the man. If he put the pieces together, he can't allow that. And he can't allow this to go on. Him shooting the spike out of his wrist. And the Vulture, he does still stand there. As Deku is going to rush forwards to attack. Now, the world is starting to report on a few things. And Regent, he gets a report that shouldn't be possible. Spider-Man is back. And the moment he hears about that, he immediately gets annoyed. However, there was Cindy. Cindy was flying through the city too. And when people saw... I bit my tongue. I'm fine. Whenever people saw her, they were talking about Silk. Some people thought it might have been impossible. But the moment they heard about Spider-Man, and some people heard about her, they realized that the heroes are still around. They're still alive. Even almost, almost more than half a decade later, heroes are still here. Spider-Man's back. Does that mean the Avengers are back? And that was on some of their minds. People, they saw this. And whenever Silk came smashing down at the schoolyard, she tried to get kids immediately out of here. She heard the commotion going on with Spider-Man, and the moment she saw her own kids running, she realized that their power dampeners weren't the problem. And the Power Pack, they left. They went back into hiding. And Deku, he went into retreat as well. He tried his best to get back home and change his clothes. However, that was a problem. And Cindy was surprised. However, more surprised was some of the people at S.H.I.E.L.D. They were definitely happy to see Spider-Man alive and well. And there was even Firestar. But more importantly, they're glad to see Spider-Man back in the action. And Cindy and Deku, the two are currently sitting at home. And they're actually Zinko. Inko is trying to ask Dad about exactly what happened. About exactly how his powers are. I mean, she knew her dad was Spider-Man. She knew he was a hero in the past, but watching him take down those people. I mean, her friends were having trouble with that. The power pack. I mean, they were having trouble against Rhino, but he sent him flying and packing. And the other villain, he took her down easily. But then there was the Vulture. She tries to ask her dad that question. What about the Vulture? But Deku doesn't say a word. He just tells his daughter that he handled it. And right on the news, they're reporting a few things. But there actually is J. Jonah Jameson. Right now, whenever he's on the news, he does start to yell and talk about what happened. Today at a schoolyard, there was Regent. His enforcers, they went there to pick up some powered individuals today. In the crossfire, one of the villains lost their lives. But at the same time, people have reported in seeing both Silk and Spiderman back. And many people are actually a bit more alarmed. They know it was him. They didn't see costumes, but they saw the webs. And that can only mean two things. So, he only has one thing to say. Right now, him gonna look around. And him gonna shout out, Spider-Man's return is well needed. And Deku doesn't want to look at the TV alarmed. As Jameson, he spouts off. New York City's been under the control of Regent for years, and he's gotta tell Spider-Man this. Whatever made him run and hide, he needs to get back out there on his feet. He needs to actually face off against Regent. People coming on screen. And Rhino pulling Jonah out of his chair. Jonah screaming about how the world, it needs Spider-Man right now. It needs anyone willing to stand up to that man. And the TV broadcaster is going to cut out. Before somebody else, they do going to sit there, and they do stare straight ahead. Then Emily's expressing about what actually may have happened. And that does mean a few things. Because the people, they don't use the term Spider-Man. They used masked individual, who was harming Regent's, well, let's just say allies, since I can't really think of a good word for subservient, well, villain. Now, with that being said, Deku does have a few things on his mind, and there actually is Cindy. Cindy is happy that Deku, he's back in action, but Deku is not too sure if this is permanent. He's not too sure if this will be a good thing, and that is sort of a problem. However, we do actually have a knock on the door, and Deku, he is going to turn and walk over. Him going to do so and look around. As he does open the door and step outside, him a bit confused. As he does get a look down, seeing a box. Him bending down and going to pick it up. As he does get to open the top of it and see something. Closing it up, and then going to actually pick it up. I'm going to turn and walk inside. As there actually is Cindy. Cindy does this, don't stare at Deku. Him carrying a box, as she does try to ask him what that is. And Deku tries to tell her, come with him. And the two do go to walk into the garage. The kid's a bit surprised. As right now, Annabelle, Deku's daughter, she does do quite a lot. She was right now watching over her little brother, Eric. And their parents, they're definitely doing something strange. Acting weird. They're freaking out, and they've never seen them freak out like this. And there currently is in the garage, where Deku, he pulls open the top of the box again. Him going to pull out a costume, as he does see the red and black color scheme. It's Kane's costume, the costume of the Scarlet Spider. And Deku, he does stare at Cindy, and she does stare at him back. As Deku, he does then going to turn and look at the box. Him pulling out web shooters, and then going to turn again. Him going to reach in and grab something. Him going to pull out a silk costume, as there actually is a card. And the card is quite simple. It says it's from Black Cat, and surprisingly there's no pictures this time. And Deku, he does get to read it, as Cindy does get to hold on to her old costume, wondering if it would still be, well, if it would still fit, or if it might be a little snug, you know? And Deku, he read the words. Good to finally see you back in action, Spider. XOXO. This used to be his. Now it's yours. Also, I took the other one from a friend of yours. Figured she might need it. There being a bit of a not emoji, being a bit of a heart stamped there. And Deku does to close it. Him turning to Cindy and asking her if she really thinks that Regent, he's gonna just sit back and let Spider-Man go. I don't know. If he's gonna search for us, then we gotta fight back. He almost found our daughter. I know. He almost found all of them. Do you think that Cindy, do you think we should let the kids get out of town for a while? I think that would probably be best. We also need to find people to help. I think I might still have the shield number they gave me. I put it up somewhere, so there's that. Right. But we need a proper plan. We might have one. Really? Yeah. But promise you won't be mad? What did you do? It's not what I've done. It's sort of what I've already done. Okay, you have about 10 seconds to explain, otherwise I'm assuming what you've done is Black Cat. No, wait, hang on. Okay, over there, press the button. Her gonna turn, walking over and looking around. As Dakuta's gonna tell her, look under the workbench. Her actually still gonna bend down. Her going to press the button as right now she's gonna see it. Everything just starts to somewhat change. A few things happen. In the room, it does somewhat go to shift around. Right now she is going to watch a ton of spider tools pop up on the walls. She watches things spin around and reveal weapons. And most importantly, there actually is a sound. It sounds like a lock becoming undone. And she's going to turn, watching a hole in the ground go to open. And she's going to turn back to Izuku. Him going to somewhat shrug, as he tells her he's an inventor. And right now Cindy is going to walk over, her going to crawl down the hole and find the spider lair, or Deku's, spider cave? You know. He just decided to have one. And Cindy is going to look around. There's a few things here. A few things that she didn't even know they had. I mean, this could all definitely come in handy. But then again, it's also a bit more worrisome. We're going to turn and asking Izuku if he really thinks they can do this. I don't know. But we have to try. So, are you back? Yeah. Yeah, I think I am. We're going to step forwards. And now wrap her arms around Deku. And Deku does wrap his arms around her. He feels scared. But he doesn't feel this pressure in his chest. The one on his shoulders. He doesn't feel that guilt. If he finds a way to win against Regent, if he finds a way to overpower him and overcome him, then that means a lot of things. Heroes can exist again. People can survive. People can go back to normal. The heroes can come back and law can probably be restored. This is huge for the world. And people, they're making headlines of this. Spider-Man back. Heroes in New York. I mean, it's crazy to think about. And people, they feel a sense of hope. But there actually is Deku. Deku, he doesn't feel the hope. He feels the weight. This all might depend on him. It might all depend on Cindy. And one of the people he hopes to find first is Julia. If if she managed to escape somehow or she's in Regent's possession, he needs to find her. There's so much to say to her. There's so much to reveal to her, talk about. And Deku? Deku does get to actually sit there at his workbench. Right now, him wearing the black and red costume. It feels a bit tight. I mean, he has grown a little, but at the same time, his muscles, they're not bigger, right? He's tried to train, but that's a little bit harder to do. Huh. You know, maybe that serum can work. Him staring at it. He's debating whether or not to take it, drink it and increase his powers, but also whether or not it might have unforeseen side effects. And Deku, right now he does decide the risk might be worth it. However, he's also worried. He knows it won't kill him, but at the same time, if he does get a power boost, it can help against Regent. And Deku goes through the science at least one more time before putting the finishing touches on it and downing the vial. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And New York, they're about to see something they haven't seen before. A new and improved Spider-Man. And Regent is definitely happy. This world became a bit boring to roll over, but now there might be proper opposition. I mean, a proper challenge again. But he doubts that. Though it will be fun to see what he can do. He thought he killed the spider, but apparently not. Maybe he'll actually have to use some proper strength. Do this with his own two hands, not just his mind. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.